Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coast-to-Coast Combat Hour. I'm your host, Matthew Hawkins, and as always, I'm joined by my friend, author, and co-host, Ed Carbajal. Check out his book on Amazon, author Edward Carbajal. Search on Amazon. Ed, UFC pay-per-view fight week. Some good UFC news especially for East Coast viewers going forward in the new year.
Yeah.
So let's just start with that before we get into the thing. Well, first of all, how are you doing? How are you doing, brother? How was your Thanksgiving? How's life on the East Coast right now?
Pretty good. I mean, they dropped the news that we're going to talk about with the new format in the UFC and everything, kind of like over the holiday weekend. So that was like as you said, nice early Christmas gift for us East Coasters. I don't know how everyone else feels about it. Please drop in the comments what you think about it, especially if you're in other parts of the world. But I mean, that's what I was actually going to ask you what you thought about it, because you're 3 hours behind me.
So what we're talking about is the UFC is apparently starting in 2026 going to start the pay-per-view main cards at 9 Eastern. Is that correct? Which means
hour earlier.
That's the old school. That's how it used to start. Back in the day, that's when it's like in the early days when I got into the UFC like 33 started at 6:00. A bunch of again, that's old school. We're going back, I guess, 20 years now. But excuse me. I don't mind it. My thing is, if you're in Vegas or if you're in one of these cities watching the fight live, you could care less really what time it starts, as long as it's not like 6 a.m. or some BS like they do in London or Dubai or wherever, when they do their middle of the night cards. As long as it's not like that. As anything after about 4 p.m., I think is probably fair game, especially if you're just excited about going to the fights. As far as viewing goes, I mean, maybe it's just me being older, but I don't really see a difference here on the West Coast. We're used to it kind of being right in the middle of dinner time, and everything's we're kind of used to it being that time frame. So I don't really think it's that big of a difference. A Saturday, it just means that the barbecue starts an hour earlier. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't really, I don't think it's bad at all.
I keep thinking about back to, because the first time I experienced, your time watching combat sports was when I was the second time I went to Vegas was when I went for UFC 189, and just seeing everything end felt so much better. Like, my energy was so much better. You'll see folks on the East Coast, like, we're up till, I've messaged you, I'm like fighting stay awake some, especially when they do double, like the card we got this weekend, when they do double title fights and they go the distance. It's like, holy shit, it's 2 a.m. almost 3. Like, I'm ready to knock out. Sometimes I pass out a little bit, especially now that I'm an old man. So,
well, no doubt. I've been to fights on your coast out there, and obviously in Florida and stuff, and it's definitely a game changer. And it takes some getting used to. I don't know where that started, to be honest. I mean, it's weird to me that the East, as a West Coaster, like, it's always been odd to us that you guys start a lot of your sports like when most people are going to bed. Like, at least for you to watch West Coast sports or like national sports, they always seem to start so late for you guys. Obviously the Yankees and stuff come on your local time, and that's early for us. But I think it's good. I don't see a problem with it.
no.
You start talking about, and then, some of these downtowns where these events are held are not the best place in the world. So those getting out an hour earlier certainly probably doesn't hurt.
Especially if they plan on coming back to Newark.
I guess it's still midnight when it gets out, but midnight, 1:00, you start to.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like if you think about that too, that hour back, especially when they come to Madison Square Garden, like, there's people that can't even stay for the last fights because if they took the train in from Jersey, they got to rush, or anywhere else, that if they're not in the city immediately, they're rushing out to catch the last train. Otherwise, you're in New York for the night, So
again, that's so foreign to me, being a West Coast guy. Other than the handful of times I've been out there, I just can't even comprehend. I can, because we have trolley systems and stuff here that have running on clocks, and it affects a lot about the sports events. Why I don't use a lot of them, because a lot of them it would be too tight, and you just don't know. It's too much of a gamble to get stranded out here. Where you're at, you have a little bit more options to get picked up. For me, it's there's you have other trains and maybe stuff to work with, but I don't know. I think it's a good change. I think it'll be good for the I think it'll be good. I don't think it's gonna make, like you said, as long as it makes people on the East Coast happy, pretty neutral here on the West.
Mhm.
I'm not sure what that does to like so I guess like London, instead of starting at like 4 o'clock, it'll start at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So really not much of a difference. I suppose if you're staying up all night though to wait for the fights,
Yeah,
it starting at 3 is better than starting at 4.
yeah.
But that's hardcore as it is. But I mean, I honestly wish they would switched immediately, but we know we got to get through this ESPN phase. We got to get through the end of this year.
Can't wait for it to be over.
But to be fair, at least we have a good final pay-per-view card. I know there's a fight night on the 13th, but here on the 6th, we are going to get UFC 323 live from the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Pretty good card. I know you got some notes on it. I know we were talking about some of the prelim names earlier on, right before we started recording. Some real fun fights. I mean, the one that jumps out at me immediately is Edson Barbosa versus Jalen Turner. Just based off of the fact that I don't want to say they're like mirror images of each other, but they're kind of like they're kind of a clone. Turner's kind of a freak because of his size and his length and everything. But as far as their fighting styles go, they bring a lot to the table that's very similar. And you kind of got the old guard against the newer guard, who basically retired because of he just kind of given up on himself. So I'd be interesting to see how Turner reacts and kind of what kind of fight Barbosa brings to him. It's going to be interesting to tell. When you have a guy who just retired, who's kind of young, you wonder if they're just going to, do you just give up if he starts, there's a lot to be said there. We're going to find out where he's at mentally in that fight. If he starts taking it a little bit, is he going to, does he turtle up, or does he, you know what I mean? It'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I do kind of like Turner in that fight if his head's on straight. You got to go with the younger guy, I think.
Yeah,
in a situation like that,
especially the sport where the young eat old more often than not. And this fight with Macy Barber and Karine Silva interests me a lot. I know Barber's had some issues, so I'd like to see how she does in this bout against Silva, especially since they're both ranked. Terrence McKinney's always fun to watch. He's going against Chris Duncan, so the undercard's really, really good. And one other thing we were talking about before we started recording was the UFC, this era as it comes to an end, options to watch it are a little rough. So the fact that they're giving us the ESPN2 prelims versus putting them on FX and not telling one until the night of, it's kind of nice to see. But the pay-per-view is it's a hefty one. The last one.
It's hefty. It's hefty with the really small dudes. it's light but hefty for the most part. Other than kicking off the main card with a couple brutes at light heavyweight. Jan Blachowicz, former champion, versus Bogdan Guskov. Who's been on a nice run in the UFC.
Really, before we start getting into the card, because Antoine asked this question about the final, because it is the final pay-per-view on ESPN. How do you guys feel about the ESPN era? I've been pretty vocal about it. I just wanted to answer that because I think me and Matt are kind of on the same page. It hasn't been my favorite era of the sport. If anything, something that company did has soiled the I don't know if it's, I don't want to, because the UFC's at fault a little bit too for being in business with them. Dana White kind of hinted at one of his most recent interviews that they didn't always see eye to eye on things, so he looks more happy to do the Paramount move, especially since boys are involved. But I can't wait for it to be over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know when it officially started now. It's kind of just been a little bit of a blur. I know the pandemic threw a lot of stuff off, and easily my least favorite. I would say era, if we're gonna call like a 7-year period like an era. Probably my least interested, or and a lot of it has to, honestly, it has to do with just the ability to be able to buy the pay-per-views in the beginning, and the idea of having to have a subscription and all that stuff. I just I thought that alienated a lot of people.
Yeah.
Not so much people like me and you, but it alienated everybody above the age of about 55 or 60 at the time of the deal, probably going in.
No, and then they kept raising the price, and it become costly to be a fan of this product. And the thing, that's why, I mean, we got to a point where if it was an ESPN Plus card, we were kind of just like, no, we'll talk about, we'll focus on BKFC. When Bellator was around, we focused on them. I mean, the things, I think that's the positive I'm looking at, is that we don't have to do that anymore, because now with Paramount Plus and the CBS putting stuff on CBS, they're making it easier to watch. So
no, it's way more streamlined, and it's what an eighth of the cost, a tenth of the cost. I mean, literally a tenth of the cost. And another thing is that it's frustrated me about the whole UFC thing is, well, the UFC and ESPN is like, ESPN is the pinnacle of sports entertainment in a sense. So I don't understand. It always seems like they were always put on the back burner.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it was like you're
may as well been the zone.
You're tied to this. You're tied to this channel, or that is the king of sports channels, and they treat you like you're like seventh in line. I mean, literally, women's softball would preempt UFC cards, and
the little kids World Series that I was joking about.
And I'm not dogging all that stuff. I've watched all that stuff, but the point is, you've got like, there's a lot of ESPN channels, and if you're gonna sign the UFC and act like, and you're gonna have Dana White acting like it's the biggest sport in the world, and it's bigger than soccer, and all this crazy nonsense that he talks, and you're not even like preempting Little League quarterfinal regional tournament play, like, I don't really know how to take that, and so that made it harder to watch. And and let's be honest, the and we'll see how this works on this. The first card for Paramount looks nice. Honestly, man, when they released it, I think it was 8 fights. I think it's up to 9 or 10 now. I would like to see it get down to an 8, 9, 10 fight card. I don't think we need to have 14 fight cards. I think, especially
when we lose fights too. I mean, maybe it'd be a better business practice just to have fewer. That way, you have more fights on the back burner for other events.
Yeah, I mean, well, you could also lose fights though if you have a small card. But I'm saying if you have a 10 fight card and you lose 2 fights and you have 8, okay, that sucks. But it still is. It's kind of in the. It's actually kind of a nice little niche here if you're only gonna if for what you're gonna do. I mean, it's how it used to be, and I used to complain because back then there was a fight every 4 months. So if it was only 8 fights, you were kind of bummed. Now there's literally one every weekend. So I don't feel like I need to sit there for 7 hours. And you know what I mean? If we can shorten this down to, a 3-hour pay-per-view and like an hour and a half of prelims, to me, like, I don't see that being even if you just got rid of the early prelims and you started, 2 hours, and it was a 5-hour thing. But I think that would be nice, another nice change. But the ESPN thing is everything was prepaid. I mean, let's be honest. We've watched cards get watered down. Every year ESPN had that deal, the cards got worse and worse. The fight nights went from like, okay, that's a hell of a main event, to like, I legitimately don't know who any of these people are fighting. And I think a lot of I think the Apex also coming in during the ESPN time here, which was also because of essentially the pandemic, I think is a disaster. The only people like that are people who are rich that can go. That's the only people who like the Apex, and I don't. That's the bottom line. Nobody likes the Apex, and that allows them to have weak cards because they're not really having a gate. And who's going to complain and who's going to boo? There's 55 people in there, and they're all guests of the UFC. Nobody's going to boo. It's just how it is. You're going to boo if the UFC's comping you seats for a $5,000 seat at the and it's just not going to happen. I mean,
we talked about that when the Apex became regular. I mean, there's no reason to talk about it anymore now. But just because of the question Antoine asked. So thanks for asking, Antoine. You gave us some some good stuff to
No,
talk about. But let's get into back. We were about to look at this this final card, and you were talking about
we're talking about Jan versus Bogdan. Bogdan. I mean, it's a banger fight. It's two big dudes. For me, I like it. It's two of the bigger guys on the card, biggest guys on the card. And Jan Blachowicz is pretty. You know, he's not known for boring fights. I wouldn't say. He brings a pretty big hammer. In Vegas he tends to have some good fights. So I kind of lean towards him as the veteran. I know he's got a handful. He's got 11 losses, so he's taking his whoopings here and there. But I'm kind of going. I'm going to tend to go with him when you get to the. Either that or it's going to be a coming out party for Guskov, who I've been around, has got some nice wins in the UFC, but I'm going to go with Jan to win, and I hope he wins this fight by finish because I kind of am worried about a long main card here. I know some good fights, but as we look forward here, I could see some decisions. So, in a perfect world, I'd like to see like a minute into the second round, somebody get decapitated in this fight.
So you said you're picking Jan here?
I'm gonna go with Jan.
I'm just making my notes because I like to compare our stuff on the fight night. I'm actually going the other way. I'm picking Bogdan just because but we kind of hinted at earlier about the younger guys eating the older guys, and I know he's a veteran, but Jan's on the 2-fight skid, and Guskov he won his last 4 with finishes, so that's why I think he's probably gonna. Let me see, what do the odds say? Oh well, no, but they have Jan as a favorite, so it should be good then. You're probably going to be right on this one.
It's either coming out party or it's not. Jan's level of opponents has been light years ahead of Guskov, so that's probably why he's favored. That's why you could have some losses when you're fighting the top of the top. But, But we'll see where he's at. You're going to find out where he's at because a young kid could come in here and he hits the guy who's a half step slower now. So I said, I think this is a good fight. I think it's
a good opener, for the main.
A good light
good opener for the closer.
Fight. Move on to former double champ or triple champ, as he refers to himself, Henry Cejudo versus Peyton Talbot, the up and coming future potential star. This is a tough one. This is a tough one to pick because I kind of lean towards Antoine there with it being Cejudo's retirement fight. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, but against guys that are killers. Talbot lost just 1 fight ago to somebody that probably the average person could never name. So that is to be said. He's fighting Cejudo, who's been through everything, seen everything. I don't know how I'm going to pick it, but I'm going to say it's either Talbot's going to win by knockout or Cejudo's going to just press him for a decision win. It's a 3-round fight. If he's able to get takedowns, but I'm going to go with Talbot. I'm going to go with the younger, possibly stronger guy at this point of his life. Speed. But it wouldn't surprise me if Cejudo managed to grind something out here. He knows it's all on the line here. You know what I mean? At some point, I wonder if you go into fight camp and you're like, I don't care if they boo me for 15 minutes in a row. I'm going to grab this guy's ankle and I'm going to hold on to it until I win the most boring decision ever just so I can get a win in the win column. I don't know if that happens. When you start talking an Olympian who's got obviously special skills, you wonder if he's able to kind of do something like that. If it's just force, press it up against the cage and just grind it out, kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go Peyton Talbot on this one, just because kind of what we hinted at earlier with the younger guys and the older guys, and Cejudo was semi-retired, whatever before. He's been retired and come back, and usually that's an indicator that somebody's kind of. The thing is, he is somebody that was an Olympic competitor, and especially I think about when he beat Marlon Moraes with the torn ankle or whatever the hell he had. I was just like that's the guys that are like Mark Kerr said on the Joe Rogan when he was promoting that movie. There's some people that just have another gear, and I mean Cejudo, he might be older, but I think he still has that gear. So like you said, he could grind it out, but I'm leaning. I can't help but lean Peyton Talbot on this one.
Well, you hinted at it on Twitter earlier today when it came to Ronda Rousey and why she's fighting. When you see guys retire and then they come back, you wonder if it's for the fire of being a world champion or it's because they have to pay their mortgage. You know what I mean? And you know, I don't think Ronda Rousey's contemplating coming back to become a world champion, as you hinted at earlier today. So I don't know, but I
plus 230 underdog for Cejudo too in that fight. DraftKings odds on UFC.com.
I like a little bit of action on Cejudo with those odds, if I'm being honest.
You
know what I mean? I like a little action. Yeah, that's a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, if Talbot was undefeated, I would say, yeah, he's going to just wipe. But we saw him lose. We saw a chink in his armor. So I just kind of wonder, you know, if, you know, can Cejudo figure out a way to basically take him down and kind of do what he did when Talbot lost, just kind of grind him up and a little ground and pound here and there and just make sure you win a decision. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, but you talk about new guard versus old guard, it doesn't really get any more.
Yeah.
any more than that fight particularly.
Yeah, and it's kind of good that they put fights like that, a couple of fights like that on this card because of, you know, we're in a transitional area with the promotion too. So I kind of like this matchmaking here. Here comes my fight of the night, potential fight of the night. The homie Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira. Both of them coming off of wins, flyweight killers. Let me see what the odds. Wow, look at these odds. Minus 102 for Moreno and minus 118 for Taira. It looks like the odds makers are seeing what I'm seeing here. There's no secret who I'm going to pick, so I'll just let you talk.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're going with Moreno. I'm going to as well. And my reasoning is Japanese fighters don't win in Vegas. They don't.
No, you know what? I don't know why.
And I'm not trying to say that to be like controversial or anything, but they don't. And I know because they've taken my money every single time. You know, from Sakurai to fucking, you know, Asakara. Like I just watch these guys take ass whoopings that, you know, and it's hard. If they're not Sakuraba, I'm not really putting money on them anymore. And you know, but with that said, I'm still taking Moreno just because I think I think he's gonna bust the dude up. I really do. I think he's gonna bust the dude up, and I think he's gonna be bigger, stronger. I just feel like he's gonna be able to do damage. I did see interesting that they both kind of agreed that they could make 125 as backups for the co-main, but there's no, which tells me that there's no backup for the co-main. Obviously, right? So let's not fall for this old wise tale of the UFC claiming that they had backup fighters. Yeah, clearly they don't. So that fight. So if one of those guys don't make weight for that co-main event, we know that fight's getting canceled.
Yeah,
I mean, we know that.
Yeah, no, and I saw that, and I was just kind of like, I want to see this fight. I really want to see. I don't want to see Pantoja
Moreno again.
Yeah, like I want to see this fight. I want to see the more.
Oh, I hope it stays.
That's
I
why
hope
I posted what I posted.
Yeah, no, I hope it stays intact.
Yeah, this is my main event. Just Moreno Taira. It's going to be one of those that when it ends at the third round, people are going to wish it was 5. That's what I'm calling right now.
I don't even. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it doesn't even get to the end of 3, but
yeah.
We'll see.
I'm giving Taira some credit. I think they can make it last, but I think it'll be fun 3 rounds.
Co-main event. I mean, flyweight goat, maybe not. Alejandra Pantoja versus the up and coming freight train Joshua Van, coming off of a legacy fight or an incredible fight against Brandon Royval, which earned him this title fight and jumped him from, I believe, number 10-ish or so up to I got him number 4 on Topology. What do they got him there? They got him number 1. Yeah, they jumped him all the way up number 1 on UFC. I'm going with Pantoja. I think Pantoja is going to just clear the board. I think we're looking at a 50-45. If not a stoppage, maybe a head and arm choke. Just a classic RNC. I think those things definitely happen. I'll take Pantoja. I mean, I'm going to take, if I'll go on record, I'll say Pantoja just by submission. Middle to end a fight, somewhere in that range. After about 2 rounds, I think. I think he'll have Van discouraged enough. He'll be able to have his way if he takes him down to the ground.
Yeah, no, I'm. You and I are on the same page there. I mean, it's good. I want to say it might be a better matchup than the actual main event, since the main event's a rematch. That we kind of have an idea. This one just seems more competitive, more question marks because of Van's rise, like you hinted at. But Pantoja's experience, I think, is a bigger obstacle. Pantoja just fought better guys. You know what I mean? And I just feel like this is going to be something that cements him in the division.
He's getting better too. He's not getting worse as a champion. He's not getting more defensive. He's not getting more safe. He's actually fighting more violent and more, since he's become champion, every fight, it seems like he's gotten better and better as a champion, as, somebody who's going to headline events and people are going to pay to watch. I've been to, this will be like, I somehow he keeps hitting on the cards I go to. So this will be like 3 out of 4 of his fights. And, 4 fights ago, I was kind of like, oh, it's Pantoja. It's a smaller dude, and now I'm like, okay, now I'm possibly watching one of the best, if not the best at that weight class, who is just continuing to do damage to these guys. So, I mean, I'm going to take Pantoja. Now, Van winning is not terrible because, as you stated with Moreno, not necessarily wanting a rematch with Pantoja. If Van were to somehow win, it would shake everything up. Although Pantoja probably gets an immediate rematch, so maybe it's not for the. I don't know, but it would definitely shake things up if he managed to beat him somehow really significantly.
One little division right there, yeah.
You said was that Pantoja favored? Was it -2?
-238 to Van as a +195 underdog.
Huh. Okay. And the main event, the fighting machine, Merab Dvalishvili versus Peter Yan, the former champion.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, there's no way to not pick Dvalishvili to win this fight. Like, there's just not. With that said, you're always kind of on the clock. At some point, somebody's going to land a knee. At some point, somebody's going to land a hook. At some point, somebody's going to do something. Now, I don't know if Jan's the guy to do it, but Jan might be based. I mean, he went 5 rounds with him before. He didn't get which is, at least he survived, which is something he can survive. He's not going to turtle up and get subbed or beat up. He's probably surviving 5 rounds if Merab does his normal thing. Jan's got enough weapons that he might be able to catch him, but you'd have to be crazy to the odds are probably so far stacked towards Dvalishvili. You might want to throw a 10 spot at Jan just because you're going to get good odds, but or put him in some wild parlay with.
What is he? He's
I don't know what it is.
+370 on DraftKings.
Okay, so it's not as crazy as we've seen on some of these other fights recently, but yeah, I mean, you got to go with Merab. My only thing with Merab, like I said, is there's a reason why guys eventually lose. There's a reason why guys don't have 30-fight win streak. You know what I mean? Like, things happen. There's a reason why most guys don't have 10-fight win streaks.
Antoine's doing my picks for me. But I think Merab's going to fuck him up again.
I mean, like I said, I think it's,
yeah, pretty much.
I just hope this fight doesn't leave the crowd booing on the way out the door.
Yeah.
I
just
think
that's
that's all I hope is that, it's exciting.
I mean, it's not like, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Jan. Jan's obviously a killer too, and he was, he stuffed a lot of the takedowns. There's a lot of good things he did in the last time they fought. And when you come in, when you rematch somebody, when you go against somebody that you've felt and experienced before, your chances do improve. But when it's somebody like, even if you're technically better then if he might have more skills, experience, whatever, and whatever other martial art, Marab's thing is why he had the nickname the Machine. At the end of the day, he will kill you with the cardio. He'll just wear you out, and like you said, pull off a decision. And the guy just seems to have a nonstop engine. I know you, like you said, the clock is on, but for him, I don't know when it stopped with the cardio, because the dude seems like he's an Energizer bunny still. So
Yeah, it's not going to be him getting tired. It's just going to be him shooting for a takedown and getting caught, or
yeah.
getting cut, and it bleeds into his eyes and throws him off. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
or he bangs a knee and and something kind of
Yeah.
tears, or I mean, like things happen, and like again,
Lucky shot. Yeah.
that's why when you have runs like he has right now, it's so memorable and so rare, because guys lose. So I mean, the fact it's a rematch for him obviously makes it tilt more his way, because you know he can beat this guy, and there's a little less surprise, like you said in the co-main event there potentially. But I mean, Jan deserves the fight. Let's see what happens, and you know, I mean, all that has to happen for this to be a good fight is Jan needs to fight off some of those takedown attempts in the early rounds. I mean, really, that's all that has to happen. He fights some of those takedowns off, and he puts a little bit of scare into Merab. Maybe puts Merab on his butt once or twice. If that could happen, the fight could become really fun really quick. But
and I always think back to that. The first time when O'Malley fought him, and O'Malley seemed to find something at the end. I always talk about that little body shot he threw in the final round that Merab reacted to. I'm surprised nobody else. I mean, maybe Merab, obviously he felt it, so maybe he's protecting his liver and stuff a little better. Because I mean, if you want to take a guy's cardio away, you gotta mess with his body, right? And I feel like not enough people. If you know that's his biggest weapon, you could try doing the like a Lyoto Machida did back in the day. Who did he do it to? Was it Ortiz, where he just leg kicked him to take the drive away from the takedowns? But there's stuff like that. Like I know MMA math is not math, but when you think about ways to beat somebody that has a significant advantage over your division, you would think you would try to find some way to get at it. So I don't know. I mean, Jan seems like that kind of guy, but again, I think Merab celebrates the new year with his UFC
probably
title.
yeah. I mean, you can't pick against that, but yeah. I mean, I think it's a fun fight card. It has potential for some really interesting storylines going forward, so that makes it always fun. And like I said, it's old guard versus new guard, so you never know what's going to quite happen. And maybe we get some new stars. I mean, we could come back next show and be talking about Talbot being the future champ. I mean, if he goes out there and he dominates Cejudo, that'll be a big, that'll be a huge step up. So a lot going on. Enjoy the fights this weekend. Fans can follow us at Combat Hour on Twitter, Coast to Coast Combat Hour on Instagram. Follow me, Matthew Hawkins, at Fight Fan Hawk on X, MMA Hawk 21 on Instagram. Follow Edit Carbazol on Twitter, Carbeerzol on Instagram, Old Head Carb on Twitch. Check him out on Amazon. Buy his books. Edward Carbajal, author.
Oh, hold on one second, because he keeps asking.
What do you got? We got another question.
One last question from Antoine, because he keeps asking about the seven. If I asked earlier, does UFC make the 7.7 billion back for Paramount? I think we got to wait and see, Antoine, just because they already, for number one, they did a price increase already before, just to get those newbies, so they hit us with a higher price. So if they bring in those subscriptions, which is going to be everybody probably canceling ESPN Plus this month, coming over to Paramount, I think maybe they could see some there. We don't know what backroom deals they have with advertising and people throwing money at them because they want to get on board. I think that we have to see how it trends, and then I think the real way you'll tell is when you see how advertisements are handled during the first event that's free. When it's on CBS, it's good. That's how you're gonna see, like, we're gonna have like huge commercial blocks because people are paying like to do with the NFL for ad time. That's where they're gonna make it back and see how that money split up. But I'm not really a financial guy. That's just how I see the business going. But we'll see. We'll probably by March, April, we'll have a good feel of how that first quarter. We'll have a good feel of how the money's rolling in. Either way, the UFC gets paid. It's Paramount that needs to make
Yeah,
money.
the Paramount has to. I was going to say that Paramount's the one who has to recoup the money.
Mhm.
Simple math tells you it's impossible to do through subscriptions. They need $7.7 billion. There's 340 million people in the United States. Even if everybody subscribed, they wouldn't even be halfway there.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include all the children and stuff who can't. Adult wise, you would need everybody to subscribe about 5 times probably to even get close to the number that you're looking at. So no, they won't get it back through that. It'll have to be through ads. Whereas Ed said, I have no idea how much. They're not stupid business people, so I don't even think it's about necessarily making money. It's about just trying to break even or get really close to breaking even because of all the eyeballs it might bring to your other shows and other commercials on other shows. So that would be my thing. It's not. It might not. They might even be ready to take $1 billion loss. You might just be going, hey, this is kind of we're hoping to build this and maybe in the next contract, but I don't know. I wouldn't think $1 billion loss. That seems like that's pretty hard hitting. But
like Antoine seeing Halo for the first time.
Oh shit! Come here, Halo. Yeah, come here. Yeah, that's Halo. She's been around for a couple years. It's a Pomsky. It's a Husky Pomeranian mix.
Yeah, that's probably the thing from John Carpenter's. It's going to copy Matt, and once we get off the air.
Yeah, she's stubborn though. She'll listen to me until she'll show up 5 minutes later from now. But anyways, that's it. Enjoy the fights this weekend, everybody, and we will see you soon.
Peace.
Good night.